port of Shanghai, the biggest and busiest port on Earth. Now it's abandoned, a ghost town at the mouth of the Yangtze River.
Normally, over 13,000 people keep the port running. It's 125 docks spanning over 12 miles. And they're these towering ship-to-shore cranes. Some are over 400 feet tall, loading over 200 cargo ships daily.
Every year, the port of Shanghai handles 50 million containers, nearly 750 million tons of cargo, and fully half of that is retail: clothing, food, electronics, you name it.
The Port of Shanghai ships out enough retail goods to stock the entire Mall of America 1,000 times.
Now there is no one to man the controls, no one to watch over the docks, no one to guide ships to shore. It isn't just deserted. It's a disaster playing out minute by minute.
Best case, a ship will run aground. Worst case, it will slam right into the docks.
Laden with cargo, a ship weighing over 100,000 tons blindly caroms into the dock. With the force of almost 35,000 cars crashing into it at once.
In the harbor, you've got dozens of ships that are out of control, smashing into the docks and knocking down cranes.
The shriek of twisting metal isn't a death knell, it's a warning. An even greater danger is sealed in thousands of shipping containers stacked high on turbulent decks, waiting to open like Pandora's box.
It's not just sneakers and smartphones that are making their way through our ports. It's objects for medical research, live viruses, corrosive chemicals, crude oil, even military supplies like ammunition or nuclear fuel rods.
You'd have the normal chemical and electrical fire, but you'd also have acid melting through structures, live rounds going off, shipping containers full of fireworks exploding. The port wouldn't just be destroyed, it would go out with quite a bang.
The carnage doesn't end at the docks. It spills out into the water, where ghost ships list and burn. Cargo plunges into the harbor by the ton, never to arrive at its original destination. Far from the broken, burning port, one giant escaped. She sails the open ocean alone, with no one at the helm. One of the largest container ships ever built, the Oslo.
It's known as an ultra-large container vessel, with emphasis on ultra-large. It's as long as 4 city blocks, as wide as an 8-lane highway, and it has an engine the size of a 3-story house.
It's 100 feet shorter than the Sears Tower, the most famous skyscraper in Chicago, if it were laid on its side.
It's hard to imagine, but it can hold almost 24,000 shipping containers. Think of it carrying nothing but sneakers. It would be enough for every single person in California, Texas, and New York.
The Oslo is bound for Los Angeles, an unmanned specter on a 3-week voyage from Shanghai. Her fuel tanks are still full, her engine still humming, but not every vessel is lucky enough to share the Oslo's fate.
Loss of power on a large ship can be extremely dangerous.
Even when a container ship has a full crew and full power, it still takes 29 minutes for it to go from full speed to a complete stop. And it covers 4 miles while it's trying to slow down.
And now, a tanker carrying 1 million gallons of jet fuel is drifting right into the Oslo's path.
The tanker's dead in the water, but the Oslo still has power, and a collision between them could be catastrophic. Because even if it just starts a small fire, that's like dropping a match onto 3 million gallons of jet fuel.
On the empty bridge of the Oslo, a shrill collision alarm pierces the quiet. But there's no one to hear it, no hands on the helm, no one watching the horizon. And the ghost ship sails toward its own demise.
It's very likely that the tanker's hull will be breached if there is a spark. And if that spark hit the fuel inside the tanker, watch out. It's going to be a massive explosion.
Any other ship within a 3-mile radius would be almost completely destroyed. Windows would be blown out, the decks would buckle, and smaller ships would capsize instantly.
The blast is sudden and catastrophic. The Oslo is tossed like an unwanted toy in the hands of an angry sea. Her cargo rations snap one after another, until 24,000 shipping containers tumble into the ocean like steel dominoes.
When containers fall off a ship, some of them may stay intact when they hit the water, but they're not made to be airtight. They're made to be water resistant. So they may float for a little while, but then it's gonna sink. Many of them are basically just gonna like pop open when they hit the water, spilling all of their contents into the water.
It wouldn't be the first time. There are many weird stories of strange objects washing ashore due to shipping containers falling overboard.
For decades, there's this one beach in France where Garfield phones have been washing up every year. And it turns out it's because in the 80s, there was a shipping container full of them that sank nearby. Random Lego pieces still wash up on European beaches all the time because a shipping container full of those sank way back in the 90s.
The Oslo makes its final delivery, not to the port of Los Angeles as scheduled, but to the murky depths of the vast Pacific. Then she disappears into the far reaches of the ocean, left to her fate. 100 years after people, the Oslo has long since sunk to the darkest depths, but some of its cargo is still afloat.
Let's say a single shipping container is carrying nothing but flip-flops. It could hold about 130,000 pairs. But a lot of flip-flops are made of EVA foam, which is a closed-cell foam, which means that water can't get inside of it. This means that it can both float very well and doesn't biodegrade.
Ocean currents could carry some of those floating flip-flops all the way around the Pacific Ocean and deliver them at the port of Shanghai, like it's some elaborate return to sender package from the Pacific Ocean.
By the time this lost cargo arrives, the port where it started its journey is little more than a memory, the ghost of human commerce.
A century later, whatever's left of the port of Shanghai has been completely overgrown. Over the decades, plant life has creeped into the area or else been washed up by the Yangtze River. Whatever the case, it now looks like there's a forest covering what used to be that port.
As Mother Nature reclaims the land, an ancient resident returns, the South China tiger.
These cats were once considered functionally extinct in the wild. In fact, none have been spotted outside of zoos since the 1980s. The Chinese government created controlled breeding programs to boost the tiger's population at the Shanghai Zoo.
Now, a century after their ancestors escaped these facilities, the South China tiger is king of the jungle once more.
In A Life After People, the populations of these extraordinary cats would rebound and flourish.